plans for the World Heavyweight Championship. We also talk about last week's SmackDown and the pay-per-view quality AEW Dynamite. And we have much, much more for you. So grab those snacks and beverages, kick up those feet. And now we just have one question for y'all. Are you ready? All right. Already seeing chat. Resident Evil 2, hello to you, sir. Pyro, always good to see you, brother. Pharrell, shout out to you, young man. Of course, my girl, the Rocket Warrior, Trinity's already up in here as well. Thank you all.
Trinity!
Thank you all for joining us, of course. Don't forget to hit that like button and share this out. It's always a great help for us here at the Pop-Up Powerbomb Podcast. And as you can see at the moment, he might jump in a bit later, but we haven't got Paul tonight. He's feeling a bit under the weather. He said he may or may not make it, so we'll see as the show progresses. But I do have my brother from another, Josh. How you, bro? How you doing?
You're good, man. Very good. A little bit still in mourning from the Knicks. But, having seeing the Sixers lose like that, and I know a lot of Sixers fans, it did warm my heart.
It did, so, bro. It did. Oh, yeah, same here. And like we discussed before we went live, hey, we went down swinging, and this is just another step. This is good for the young guys to get under their belt for experience wise, and we'll be back. We'll be back. And before we get into the wrestling discussion, I will say it does look likely. I don't want to obviously jump the gun, but it does look very likely. We may be taken back to the 80s here in the NBA, folks. We could get a Lakers-Celtics final series. And we haven't seen that.
That would be a good one.
We haven't seen. Yeah, it will. It will indeed. Jason Tatum, obviously, big game. Jason Tatum in the 7th game there with 50 points. Like, damn.
Woo! Yeah. I was watching. I was like, sheesh.
Yeah, and I had a feeling that he may have heard some of the talk around, like from the game prior, where he passed it on the last play to Marcus Smart. And people were like, no, he doesn't. He's not like Kobe, his mentor. He doesn't have that killer instinct. And then I think he came out.
I was one of them.
Yeah, and I think he came out and went, nah, I'm not hearing none of that. So he went out there and did a Kobe and put that team on his back and rallied them. Of course, he has a good group of players around him. Marcus Smart's a dog. Like he just fights tooth and nail for that damn ball. Jaylen Brown's there as well. His second in command running mate. Who else they got there? Robert. What's the other center's name? Rob Williams. So they've got a good team there, and I think they match up well if they get past the Heat, which I think they will. They'll match up well against the Lakers.
That's going to be a very good series. So I definitely wouldn't sleep on that one.
I think both the Eastern and Western Conference Finals are going to be interesting because, I mean, I say what I say, but I mean I don't count out the Nuggets either. They got the Joker. They've got Michael.
That's going to be a tough task for AD.
Yeah. It will be. It'll be a hell of a matchup. They've got Michael Porter Jr., obviously Jamal Murray, and a few others. So, I mean, they match up pretty well with the Lakers. Obviously, the Lakers have got Bron, as we know. But, no, it's definitely going to be interesting. Hey, shout out to Yobi. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Good to see you, man. All right. Well, that's enough finals talk. But let's get straight into it, folks. So, Randy Orton reportedly has been told by his doctors not to ever wrestle again. It's been a while. If you've been into the wrestling lately, it's been a while since we've seen Randy Orton. His injury troubles might be more serious, though, than originally presumed. I read in an interview with Wrestle Binge, shout out to them, that his father, Bob Orton, revealed that medical professionals have encouraged the Viper to retire from the squared circle, but obviously that doesn't necessarily mean that Orton plans on listening to them. His dad went on to say he's training, so we'll see what happens. If he feels like going back or he feels like he's ready to go back, his dad thinks he might. That's just the stubbornness of his son, as he liked to add. Then again, he's pretty well taken care of, obviously, in the money that he has made. And obviously, even if he doesn't return to the squared circle, he probably still have something to do with WWE. Therefore, he'll have a paycheck still coming in. So his dad doesn't think he needs to jump back in there. And he thinks the doctors have told him not to be better than safe than sorry. But, like his dad also said at the end of the interview, Randy will do what Randy wants to do. So for those that don't know, he's been sidelined with a very serious back injury since November last year. Obviously, it was reported a while back that he underwent surgery to fuse his lower back. But the procedure in question means that he'll be out for a very long period of time. And a recent health update just from a few weeks back is that he's still nowhere close to returning. Though his father's revelation has now created doubts that he'll ever step back into the ring again. So, before I give my thoughts on it, brother, how do you feel about this? About the legend killer may or may not return?
Oh man, this was a gut punch to me when I first heard it. Because Randy's like one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I follow Randy basically his whole career in WWE. So hearing this, and it's just a sign. It's crazy because today as well, John Cena did an interview with Busted Open Radio, and he talked about like, yo, I can't go anymore in the ring. So he basically kind of announced like, I'm retiring without saying I'm retiring. Like I don't want to give the people bad product. I can't keep up. I'm not like the same anymore. So it's just a sign that, Edge, Ray, John, Randy, like we gotta start giving them their flowers now because they're not gonna be promised for the rest of the future in terms of their wrestling careers. Like they could retire within the next, let's say 2 to 3 years, really. So, and it's just like, dang, man, like there was still so many stories left for Randy to tell, especially because before pre-injury, I think his final match before he got hurt was the triple threat at Backlash last year against the Bloodline. So it was RK Bro, Drew McIntyre against the Bloodline, and I personally believe they won't start to build up for a Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns storyline. And then now with Cody back, you was thinking, oh man, let's run it back. What were they called? Legacy.
Yeah, the Legacy.
So
the Legacy.
Yeah, I was thinking like let's run it back with Legacy. Like Randy can go back to being heel. Cody's the biggest face WWE has. I mean, it's like it's just the stories are just right there, man. And it's just like that. Hear that Randy. There's a great chance Randy could be done. It's like that. Fuck. It's really a gut punch, and it's like you grew up watching Randy,
and it feels the same way as it felt when the same thing happened with Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan at the time, and Edge when he also got told you're probably not going to wrestle again. Thankfully, obviously, both of those two guys returned, but from all accounts, with the Viper, it's definitely not sounding good. And obviously, when it comes to backs, the more severe it is, the longer the process obviously is to return. Even just to walking and running again. I suppose the one good cave here coming from his father is he's obviously training again. I don't know what he exactly means by training. Does he mean just in the gym, or is he actually in a ring, running the ropes kind of thing? But either way, the main thing is he's up out of a bed. So that's a good sign, at least for movement, because we know he's got children as well. So if anything, if he's not able to return to the ring, just to get mobility back so he can still run around with his kids and stuff like that, and just walk around, obviously have that quality of life. But I'm right there with you, man. I've watched him since he debuted, in his little blue and yellow trunks that he debuted in. Soaking wet hair, right through Evolution. And then, as you brought up, led his own faction in the Legacy with Cody and Ted DiBiase's son. It's going to be a sad day if he... Because obviously this isn't the way he would, would want to go out. That's why, Edge and Bryan Danielson were thankful that, they were able to return after some years and go out their own way. Same with Shawn Michaels, who at one point it looked like he wasn't going to come back, but he took some time off, and his back, he was another one who had a back injury, and it obviously healed enough so he could come back, and he got to go out his way. So depending on how severe this is, obviously it's going to suck for Randy because it's not going out on his own terms. Obviously, if he is unable to return, and if he is able to return, then the question comes to, for how long. And like you brought up, John saying that, he really can't go anymore. But he's fine in the sense, he's now very ingrained in Hollywood, so he's got that big Hollywood paycheck. Same with The Rock, because there was always the rumoured match with Roman Reigns, and then he came out and said, nowhere near, might be, built like a brick shit house, so to speak, but I'm nowhere near ring shape, just not even close. And so he had to sort of put a damper on those plans. He's obviously over 50 as well, so it would probably take... People don't realize, it's not easy getting in shape to wrestle.
Undertaker actually talked about this a lot too, especially when he was really, really part-time. Y'all thought Roman was part-time? Undertaker was much, much worse.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He would wrestle one time a year, and he's like, no, you got to get back on a bike. This is difficult a match a year.
Yeah.
It looks easy, but no, it's because you're out of sync.
Exactly.
You got basically retrain. You can speak more about that too, because you used to do pro wrestling, but you got retrain your body to how to constantly ride a bike.
Exactly. And the thing is as they like anything, when you get older, it takes you longer to bounce back. And Taker even mentioned in interviews that's why he had big gaps, there at the end between his match, because it would take him some time to recuperate just from the match, and then get back up and getting himself ready for his next matchup. And he had to give it away in the end. I think he had an operation on his hip. I don't know if it was total hip replacement, but operation on his hip, on his back.
I think it was something like that. Yeah, he had everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, especially with how he wrestled over the years, it took a huge toll on his body, and that's the other thing that a lot of fans don't realize. Is this takes, and this is why all these wrestlers hate the word fake when they hear it from people outside the business, because this stuff takes a toll on their bodies. It really does. And things do go wrong in the ring. People have broken their necks, people have broken their backs, put out their knees. Hulk Hogan needed 3 operations and hip replacement himself from and all that was constantly doing that leg drop over the years. It completely put his hips out. So it is what it is and happens. But like you said, this will suck more so because there were some fresh matchups for him. On his return, I was suspecting that first off he may come back and turn on Riddle and finish that storyline, because we were all waiting for it. When towards the end of their run there as a tag team, and then from there, he could have, being a heel, then could have gone against Cody. Obviously, they could have built something up with Roman as well at some point. He may have had another match, another go around with Edge as well, just for the whole rated RKO, storyline there while they were both still able to go. Who else could he have gone against? AJ Styles.
Plenty. AJ, he's still plenty of people, even the new people that's coming in now.
Yeah, exactly.
Randy has no problem putting over talent, so he definitely would have worked with LA Knight. Gargano, so many.
And that would have been good because some of these are high flyers too. And
Randy likes to hit that RKO anywhere.
Anywhere, that's what I mean. I could see him hitting it on Gargano from that. People like when he gets brought up, Carmelo Hayes, he probably would have had a heck of a match with him. Actually, even him and Bron Breakker would probably have a really good matchup as well.
Yeah, it's definitely some family bloodlines there with Ortons and Steiners.
Yeah. Another match I would have loved to seen, just because they kind of are very similar in their sort of aggressive ring style, is him against Ciampa when Ciampa returned.
Oh yeah,
that would have been a phenomenal storytelling and matchup as well. But yeah, this is obviously sort of touch and go with him at the moment. Ultimately, in the end, like his dad said, he's going to be the one to make the decision. But I think his wife will also be on that decision as well. And if the doctors are saying, look, it's probably not in your best interest, she might talk him around and say, look, I know this is not what you want, so to speak, but
and at the end of the day, I don't want to see Randy like limping or anything like that in a wheelchair. So exactly. Randy's given us plenty of great memories. Yes, I know we would like to see him in the ring to do a little bit more with the modern day superstars now, but I would not be mad if Randy decides I'm done.
I mean, we still have the memories of probably the best feud that was probably going in the 2010s. Him and Cena, man, like those two just tore it up, put on a show.
That Iron Man match, everything.
Oh yeah, it was insane. And then of course his connection tag team with Edge for a while there. That was also fun to watch as well. So he's had a heck of a career. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Fame, obviously,
without a doubt.
Without a doubt. No, I mean, as I said, if he doesn't able to return, then we've still got plenty of memories, and people can go back and watch footage, and they've got it all out there for you. So
there was no worse villain than 2009 Randy Orton.
Oh no,
people don't realize 2009 Randy Orton made you think the Joker was a nice person.
Yeah, I know.
Like
he'd even
you would rather live in Gotham City than be next to 2009 Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I mean, skinhead Randy Orton.
Yeah. He even did the whole foaming at the mouth kind of stuff, and really looked vicious. You know what I'm saying? Like crazed, and like the stuff that he did to John Cena, if it happened in the real world, it'd be criminal. It was crazy. But they just bounced so well. They worked so well together. They both come out and said that in many interviews that was probably one of their favourite feuds, to feud with each other. And they did. They brought out the best in each other on that microphone, in that ring. And, they gave us some hellacious battles that we all, all thoroughly enjoyed over the years. But no, we here at the Pop-Up Powerbomb Podcast obviously send our best wishes out to him. And, look, if he doesn't return, as I said, we've always got his legacy and matches, and he put on a show for everybody. Let's put it that way. Definitely put on a show and left it all in the ring. Left it all in the ring.
Back.
All right, folks. Well, moving right along into some a little bit more upbeat news. Obviously, that's a bit of the sad news out of the way. The WWE has big plans to boost the prestige of the new World Heavyweight Championship. So, as we all know, they introduced a new title belt into the situation that resembles the old WCW gold belt, a big gold belt, because obviously Reigns is an unbeatable champion. The company obviously realised how difficult it could be to introduce a new top title, and they're going to do something special to help boost that title's prestige. Now, obviously, which we'll get into in the following topic, we know the finals now, because AJ was the last one to lock in his spot, and so we're going to get him and Seth over in Saudi Arabia, over in the Jeddah Superdome. But on the socials there, and I've come across this fella many times, Boozer666. Shout out to Boozer, who has a reputation of nailing insider reports, tweeted out behind his private account to give fans a tiny bit of a spoiler. So WWE plans to do something that will put the World Heavyweight title on the same level as its predecessor. It will have a story, apparently, that will catapult the title to its original status, all in soon-to-come plans. Right? So we'll obviously have to wait to see how WWE is able to attract the attention to the new championship. They've hyped the title, obviously, for a few weeks. All of us fans, obviously, interested. We've been speculating for weeks of who's going to be the first and so on and so forth. But the company apparently has a plan to make them full out invested and make sure the championship doesn't feel like a paper championship.
Secondary title?
Yeah, a secondary title. And the rumor at the moment, and just take it with a grain of salt, but the rumor at the moment is that AJ might be the one that they put the belt on. I mean, personally, I don't think it really matters between the two of them because they're both...
I'm about to say, you can't really go wrong with AJ or Steph. I think, personally, I would like to see Steph only because Steph hasn't had a world championship so long.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is that Steph's story is Roman. So it's not like... Eventually, Steph and Roman got to meet for a championship match at WrestleMania, and somebody's got to figure out who's going to win that.
Yeah.
But having AJ, if you want to get it really established, it's a tough pick right now. Like, especially when we'll probably definitely talk about like our predictions for Nights of Champions and like sooner rather than later. But that's going to be a tough match to pick. Like,
exactly,
to figure out like
exactly. And the thing is, what I look at is if they do go with AJ, obviously he then comes across to Raw, and do they bring him and the whole OC across to Raw? And if that's the case, then obviously going to have to send somebody or at least two people back to SmackDown. Otherwise, the rosters will be a bit uneven, because if they bring the whole team across, that's 4 people. So you've got to at least send 2 people back. If he wins it.
That's why I think it should be Steph, only because what does the OC do without AJ Styles?
Yeah, you'd have to bring them all across. The thing that I'm intrigued about is how they're going to go about, boosting it and giving it that aura that the Undisputed Championship's got. Obviously, if they can find a way to have the history from the original gold belt, and you had people like Sting and Flair and, Triple H obviously held it himself when it came into the WWE. There is significant history there. Are they going to go that route, or are they going to go in a different route to sort of put it on? Because obviously they want it on the same level as, and be looked at as the same level as the Undisputed Championship. And the other question I've got is, if they manage to pull that off, does that in any shape take away from the Undisputed Championship? Like, because if they do that and they have it on the same level and line, that was the only other concern I've got. I mean, because I look at everything from every angle, and I'm like, Roman's coming up to 1,000 days. I know you can't take that away from him and everything like that, and that's a heck of a record.
Yeah.
But, it kind of does in a sense. Like, when they first brought it out, that was one thought that popped in my head. I was like, so you brought this in, and, okay, at first I'm thinking, now people are going to look at this as a consolation prize, because you don't want to take the other belt off Roman. But then does this now take away from Roman because you're going to have 2 world champions in the company?
I don't think it's going to take away from Roman, only because Roman, we all know who Roman is. Roman's been Roman like for 3-4 years now. Like, he literally put the company on his back during a very dark time for professional wrestling during the pandemic. He carried it, and he's been the face of the company for almost a decade. You could say, I have to say a decade now. He's been the face of the company, and he's just like, I think Roman's established. I guess Roman is an established person versus it with an established title. Like he's held one title for like 2 years, and now he's held the other title for a full year. Yeah. So it's I don't think it could take anything away from it. And plus, he got the 1,000-day record. So I'm like, even without it, Roman is going to be Roman. Like Roman, I think is has reached the point where he's John Cena, where he doesn't need anything. Because there was like a stretch they didn't have John Cena really do anything. They were just like, you could just hang around and do whatever you want. And that's what, like, when they decide to take the belts off Roman, that's going to be Roman. He's going to be the John Cena, the Brock Lesnar, where we'll put you in when we need you, but we'll just have you chilling for a while. Versus what the other title where you really need to establish that. Like, so having an AJ Styles, who is an established champion all around the world, or Seth Rollins, who's like one of your biggest characters in the company, like winning it, I think like you're going to have to like really establish that. You gotta have that in like great matches, either a great match or a great storyline. It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly.
And being like Triple H, since he's, as reported, he's still head of creative, even though they say Vince is like, watching over stuff, I still think Triple H will do the right thing with the belt and say, we're going to have great matches. And when we get someone that can really tell a story, I don't know who would you get, but when we get that person, then we'll be able to tell the story. Yeah.
So here's my question, bro, to you. Then how do you personally feel that they could, what approach could they take, you think, to bring significance and bring this new title, sort of in line with the Universal title, so it's not going to be looked at as a consolation prize, as a bit of a paper championship?
Man, I would definitely say you have to put it on the right person to make the belt. You got to put it on the right person. You can't put it on somebody that can't make the belt. So having Seth Rollins and AJ compete for the title is the correct decision. I know a lot of people want to Edge, especially Edge, after he made that Instagram post or Twitter post about him, I want to win the title, then when I lose it, I'll retire. Like, that would have made it a great story, don't get me wrong, but I think you really got to have like people who know how to go in the ring. Steph and AJ are two of the best wrestlers in the company. They can put on, if you give that match, I would say 20 minutes, 25 minutes, that'll arguably be a 5-star classic. I think having AJ win it or even Steph win it, I would have put them in like matches like every pay-per-view, or even like not put them in matches for every pay-per-view and have start building up feuds. Like, find that person that's like, all right, now we could like turn this into like a 2 pay-per-view storyline or a 3 pay-per-view storyline. Borderline two. I'll say that, because I feel like when you push it to 3, it starts to drag.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And yeah, I mean, I was one of them at first. I wanted, I think I said to you just the other week, Seth was my first pick, but I had Edge as a second pick because obviously
the story's there.
Yeah, obviously him making the statement too. We know he's part-time, but him making the statement that he would love one last title run before he hangs it up. He would. Yeah,
that got me too.
He would force himself to be there each week. I would think. I think he would do that because it wouldn't be a long title run. We know that at his age. So I could actually see him putting in that work and putting in that effort if they were to put the belt on him. Obviously, they're not going that route now, but
I think even the fact that you said it.
I was just gonna say, even so, like, he's probably still got, I'd say at the very least another good 2 years before he probably does hang it up. So maybe they do eventually just give him that one little title run again. And it could just be a 2 or 3 month thing kind of thing. And he'll be, so for that, obviously he'd have to be moved to Raw again, but he'd turn up to each Raw. He doesn't need to be at the house shows or anything like that. So I mean, that's once a week he'd have to show up and then show up for the pay-per-view, for that short little run. Then drop the title like he's mentioned, and then go off into the sunset. Yeah. I mean, I hope just because I've been a massive Edge fan for years. He's always had good work in that ring. Obviously, he can still go in that ring. He's not the same as what he used to be, obviously. He has to be a little bit more cautious compared to his more reckless style beforehand, before the neck injury and that. But, he's not a boring wrestler. So, as I said, I would love to see him get that opportunity. I hope he does. Obviously, that's up to creative whether or not that happens or not. And if he doesn't, my opinion when it comes to him, if he doesn't feel that they're going to give him that, then he'll probably finish up his contract and then probably go do what the other rumor is out there, go to AEW, join back up with Christian because they want a team again before they both hang it up. And there'll be that. Maybe they win the AEW tag titles or something. Who knows? Because it's been a minute since ENC, good old Edge and Christian, have been a tag team. So, just for nostalgia's sake and for a little run, that would be good to see because, again, no, they're not wrestling like they did,
they're more mentors now. They're more mentors.
They
like,
are.
We'll put over the talent, train them. Exactly. And that's usually how that special long vets start to go. Like, we're not gonna be winning titles or matches. We're now the mentors and the trainers.
Yes.
Help teach you what we know. So when we're gone, you already know what to do.
Exactly. And you put the tag belts on them and have one of the younger teams beat them. Over, say, if it does happen over there in AEW, and there is quite a few younger tag teams over there. That would be a big notch for that younger tag team. Hey, we beat Edge and Christian for, this legendary team for the tag title. Kind of has a bit of meaning there, And as I said, because those two gentlemen can still go in the ring, they're still quite entertaining and quite good in the ring. They can both at least go 20 minutes, half an hour easily still. They're not like Brock Lesnar, who can only have short matches. So that works in there too. But obviously they're at the twilight of their careers, just like Matt Hardy and the like as well. Jericho's another one who's at the twilight of his career. But
really at the twilight, that one.
He is. I got to give it to the man though. Like, he has been in the wrestling business for decades, and I know it's slightly off topic, but I just got to give him his props on this. Like, he has evolved he's been one of the best superstars I've seen with the constant change, with his character and just sort of keeping it fresh and freshening it up. And props to him that he can still go in that ring, Obviously, again, because of his age and that, he's not the same Jericho we knew even 10 years ago, but he still puts on a great match. He can still sell you on a match. He can still tell a story. And that's something he'll never lose, those microphone skills. As I said, he's one of these wrestlers that was born with a microphone in his mouth. He just was.
That's a fact. Like, you see wrestlers who can talk, who learn to talk, and then there are souls who are just born to talk. And it's
exactly.
It's a night and day experience. It's like, I see it now.
Hey, what's good, PK, bro? What's good, bro? But yeah, no. So that. Before we move on to the next topic, I'll just finish with that. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how they go about getting that lineage there and that behind that title to make it, significant, make it mean something. And I think to start with that, I think you couldn't go with two better guys to really establish that with. Because I said the whole time, don't go with Cody. It's going to feel cheap. They didn't, which I'm thankful for.
Now we know Cody's still going after Reigns' title. So
he does.
That will most likely.
That's who he needs to be. That's how he needs to finish that story of his. It needs to be Reigns that he dethrones. Because otherwise it's just going to be like a cheap escape, and it just WWE will get rubbished on it if they like, no, well, he's on Raw now, so he'll eventually end up with World. No, that's not good enough. Like, have him do this thing with Brock, obviously. We talked about last week. They're taking the same approach that they did with Cena when Cena lost to The Rock. He'll beat Brock again, and then, as I said, they got to find a way there's only two ways that I can think of they can get him on SmackDown. Either they make a trade, which we've seen that happen before, or the second option, which I know you're not a fan of because you want your boy LA Knight to win, but they can have him win the Money in the Bank. Therefore, he's able to choose what championship he goes for.
I feel like making the trade to SmackDown is the only one that makes sense.
To me, yeah.
To me, because him winning Money in the Bank only to cash in on Reigns, and now we're banking on the chance he hopefully beats Roman Reigns, most likely at SummerSlam, which I can only see that would be the pay-per-view where they face each other at. It's just it's a waste of a Money in the Bank briefcase to me for that one. You got to find another way to get Cody and Reigns together for SummerSlam.
Yeah, indeed, brother. All right, folks. Well, we're moving along real nice tonight. So we're on to the third topic of the evening. We're about to share our thoughts, of course, on last week's SmackDown and AEW Dynamite. We'll start with SmackDown first, where you had obviously the 2 rounds to determine who was going to meet in the final later that night for their chance at the World Heavyweight Championship. So obviously in the first match you had Edge, AJ, and Ray, which I thought
smoked it.
It was smoked it. Wasn't that a hilarious match, man? That was exceptional because you've got 3 exceptional talents in there. They all put on a show. I thought that was probably match of the night, to be quite fair. For SmackDown. Right.
And they did a great job starting it off. Like I thought that was gonna be main event, but to hear that was gonna start off, I was like, oh, this is they know it. And they cooked. They gave that match plenty of time.
They did. I mean, I love the was it Edge that did the other 2 were on the apron on the outside and he speared them? Was it?
Yeah.
I thought that was
both went right through the ring.
Yeah. I was like, damn, look at this. That was so good, and Ray, man, like, he did, what was it? One of his Hurricane Ranas, that sent AJ flying. Of course, then, it was a floating Hurricane Rana on Styles, and then obviously delivered the kick to the head to him. But yeah, it was as close to a 5-star match as you're going to get on these weekly shows, and I was glad that it opened the show. Obviously, we seen AJ come out on top on that, which towards the end of the match I started seeing that as well, because at first I thought, okay, maybe Edge might get the win here. Maybe that's.
I thought they was gonna give it to Edge too for a second, and then when AJ hit that phenomenal form, I was like, all right, yeah, it's definitely AJ.
Exactly.
Because I knew Ray wasn't winning. In Ray's time of winning champions are definitely over. Yeah. So I knew he wasn't winning, but it was split between AJ and Edge, and I was like, yo, after that video, I'm thinking everybody and all social media going off side and when Edge, I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be Edge. Yeah. So see AJ win definitely caught me off guard.
The second of the rounds for the tournament, obviously it was a quicker match. wasn't nowhere near as good of a matchup. But Bobby Lashley, that was a surprise. In my mind, I know he's got the US title. I know he's not ready for the world title, but I had Austin Theory coming out of that match. I thought, okay, he's a heel. You've just had AJ, who's a babyface, win. I literally thought that was going to end up being the final. So Bobby Lashley, I give WWE props because, they haven't done the best job with him lately. The poor bugger, he missed out on his WrestleMania match because of what was going on.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I felt like it was kind of like like a we're sorry type of thing.
Yeah, and that match did what it needed to do. Obviously, it was never gonna obviously live up to the first round match because they're just different kinds of talent.
Bobby looks slick, sick with the busted open, bro.
Oh yeah,
I'm telling people like, yo, WWE might not do blood all the time like an AEW, but don't be shocked when some of the blood pops out for like certain matches.
Exactly. And I think for a little while now, just quickly talking on that, they've gone out of the PG. They've been out of the PG era. It's not full pulled PG anymore.
It's like PG-13.
Yeah. So which is good that they kind of moved away from that the minute sort of Cena, stopped being full time, because I think, especially today with the competition that they've got, they it wouldn't have helped them if they were still full blown PG. I don't think. You know, I know kids watch it and that, and that's probably why you will never see them have nowhere near as much blood, obviously, as AEW, or even Impact Wrestling. But that I think they added it at the right times. Like it was perfect, and it worked perfectly. Say with the Brock and Cody match, worked well with this match. So it's sort of few and far between, but again, it's just good to see them out of the PG, because PG was really starting to wear thin even with me. Like I was like, oh, I can't stand it anymore. Very.
I think that's visible for everybody. Like we were tired of it.
Yeah, this ain't
like we Street. Get it. We get that you're catering to the kids. It's like, oh God, can we like add some flavor to this?
Yeah. PK goes, he needs the heavyweight title. I think he's talking about Bobby, because Bobby's one of his guys.
Yeah.
And he does. He does need. I hope they do eventually give him another run with that, because he's been one of the hardest and best workers for WWE.
One of the, I'm about to say, definitely one. He's been working a whole lot, especially this past year.
Yeah. The guy looks like $1 million. I know he's in his 40s now, but he's probably one of the best, if not arguably the best power guy in the company right now. Oh
yeah, definitely.
They needed someone to fill that, I kind of guess that Batista role and stuff like that, and he fits that mold. Because Brock just turns up whenever they want him to sort of show up, so he's not full time by any means. But yeah, no, it'd be good to see. He needs to be respected in that light. Heck, at first, before he gets there, I hope he wins back the title off of Austin Theory. First.
I want to see Austin do something outside of Bobby Lashley, because it does feel like they fight each other so much.
I know.
But it might be because they got good chemistry. Bobby likes working with Austin, for all I know. But it feel like you gotta do something new with Austin Theory outside of just,
I think he needs a feud.
You need a good feud
with a talker, because I don't. That's one area that I kind of find him a bit bland in.
And he has decent mic skills. He's got decent mic skills. Yes. He's not the best, but he's got decent.
That's why I was glad to see them put him in that feud. I know the match didn't live up to it, but put him in that feud with Cena, because I knew Cena, at least on the microphone, would get a bit more personality out of him. Because before that, I actually thought that Austin Theory's a bit bland. I really did. I thought he was a little bit bland. I know there was the comparisons. Oh, he's the next Cena. He's the next Cena. I said he might have the look, but he ain't no John Cena when it comes to that microphone.
I'm about to say, nobody can.
And he just didn't seem to know what his personality was, I guess, as a character. And that feud kind of really brought it out a little bit more. Even to a degree, I'd even say the continuation with Bobby and that afterwards, he's kind of got a little bit better direction there now with his character, more so than he did before. But yeah, he still obviously needs that little bit of work. But what do you think? Obviously, in the next match, we'll talk about very quick match. I wasn't seeing this coming, but Cameron Grimes' debut. Cameron Grimes' debut was over it. If you blinked, you missed it.
Yeah. I've watched Cameron Grimes, since the NXT days.
Yeah.
I've always been very much impressed with him. I think his match with Carmelo is one of my personal favorites.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that was for the what title was that? No, North American title. It was like when they went to 2.0. So Cameron Grimes is very talented in the ring. His dad worked in the business, I believe. I don't know who his father was at the top of my head, but I know his father did work in the wrestling business. So. And I was excited. I think Cameron Grimes is going to be a nice addition for SmackDown. Don't sleep on him. I'll say that. Baron Corbin taking the L in a very quick fashion. I guess it shows that, Baron Corbin is what I would say about it, I would say Baron Corbin, like I guess knows his role at this point.
Mm.
It's kind of it's almost like similar Dolph Ziggler-ish. I get like a Dolph Ziggler feel to it when I look at Cameron Grimes. I'm not Cameron Grimes, Baron Corbin. Like I know my role, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to do whatever for the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you're right about his dad. His dad was Tracy Cadell, who was a pro wrestler and promoter. He passed away in 2018, though. I think he was just more on the independent scene and stuff like that. But it's just like another guy in NXT. I knew it instantly just by looking at his face, who his dad was. A lot of people haven't clicked on. The country boys with the girl in NXT that they always drink at the bar.
The one that just had a feud with the one chick. What's her name?
Yep.
Kiana James or something like that.
Yes, right. So
I know who you're talking about, though. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, the one with the smaller one out of the two of them, with the curly hair and obviously she made him straighten his hair out and everything. His dad is Bull Buchanan, if anybody remembers that name. He was a part of WWE back in the day with Stevie Richards and Ivory in a team called Right to Censor. They changed the Godfather to the Good Father. Yeah, that's who his dad is. And you can, when you actually go have a look at Bull Buchanan, and then you go have a look at the kid, you can see it. You can you can see it there, and I'm like, oh damn, yeah, you look like your daddy. But yeah, no, there's a few in there, second and third generation stars. But no, it was back to Cameron Grimes. It was fantastic to see him finally get his debut. I didn't think, as I said, it kind of surprised me that it was going to be that quick. But this kid is
very good, man.
He is very good.
He can work.
The only thing I was disappointed in was there was not much of a reaction from the crowd at all.
I think they have to find a way to get that, because this used to happen a lot too. When like back in black and gold days at NXT, like when somebody popped up from the black and gold, they would get like a massive pop for the main roster. They have to find a way to do that again. I think it's going to take a while, but I think they're going to have to find a way. I don't know how you do it. That's the only question. Maybe like when certain individuals like a Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes pops up, because they've been like they're the faces of NXT 2.0, or not in it, well, not in 2.0 anymore, but NXT. But Cameron Grimes, as good as he is, he never was really a face of NXT,
No, he wasn't. He was sort of, I don't like really putting it this way, but I guess you could say the mid-tier of NXT, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Like he was the mid-tier.
Yeah.
Like they gave him like one championship run. He had one world title match against Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
He did some stuff. He did some stuff with LA Knight that was cool and all, which I think that'll probably help him out. Put him up against LA Knight again.
And I enjoyed when he was teamed up with the $1 Million Man. That kind of worked out.
That was a good story.
But yeah, I just hope for his sake that it's not one of those cases, and we have seen it, so that's why I'm about to bring it up, that he doesn't really make it on the main roster, and his best was in NXT.
I think you just gotta give it time. I know a lot of people are like very impatient. You gotta like start quick, or that's it, or you're a failure. But you gotta give it time. Like give Cameron Grimes a couple good matches, or maybe a good story or entertaining feud. And then you're going to see the switch, like, oh, people are now starting to gravitate towards him. Yeah,
exactly. And as I said, I don't think people... Maybe that was a reason for the lackluster reaction too. They might not have been expecting even him to debut or be debuted that quickly, sort of thing. And it was kind of done without the limelight, I guess you could say. They didn't really build it up. Like I remember, like a week or so ago, they said, "Oh yeah, Cameron Grimes, obviously because he got drafted, he'll be debuting soon," and they kind of just left it at that. But like you said, they'll probably have a lot better build and stuff for guys like Carmelo, for Bron Breakker,
and their namesakes too. So like when you see like a Cora Jade get her call up, where you'll see a Tiffany Stratton and Carmelo and many others get their names. They're the faces of this brand.
Exactly.
Because same thing when Black and Gold was going on, like when people got that call up, like Shinsuke got that call up. Shinsuke was a face of NXT, like he was a name.
Yeah, bro, he was indeed. All right, and then we of course moved along, and we heard from the Tribal Chief, and that got interesting. It got very, very interesting in that ring.
Yep.
Between. I was actually surprised. I thought it was going to be between him and Jay, but it was between him and Jimmy.
I love that too. I love that.
Yeah, and Jay, you could tell was his reaction to the news that it wasn't going to be them and it was Roman. So he was pissed, and obviously this is going to be the start of. This was definitely the start of the breakaway of Paul Roman and Solo breaking away from the Usos. And they're kind of on the outside looking in right now, even. So I loved how that played out. I've loved how this whole storyline has gone the whole time, right? And now even more so because they're going now with the slow burn breakup of the group, or well, a splitting of the group kind of thing. And obviously this is going to lead to the Usos. You know what I think might happen, actually? I could be wrong on this, but do you think the Usos cost Roman and Solo at Night of Champions?
No.
I
don't think costing, like, define your way of cost, like as in like they'll interfere like in super kick room or something like that, or like they'll interfere.
I think they'll interfere in super kick room. I don't think they'll try and go after their brother. I think they'll go after Roman. And because they've been trying to get, well, especially Jay, storyline purposes, even though they are real life brothers, but the last time we seen him and Solo was gonna do him in, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm your brother. He ain't your brother. And when he said he ain't your brother, I think he was referring to Roman. Like, that's your cousin, but I'm your brother. Yeah. You should be taking my side, kind of thing.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think the Usos will interfere, but I think they'll interfere and cost Roman the match and Solo the match. I think Solo's gonna take the pin though, because I don't see Roman like taking a pin for a very long time unless it's against Cody Rhodes. So the Usos will interfere in the match. They'll cost Roman some way. They'll try to do something like, hey, we can help out, something like that. And they'll fuck it up. So then that will start to build towards SummerSlam. I think it will be what's next? What's next at the Night of Champions? SummerSlam or Money in the Bank?
Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank.
Okay.
But here's another thing. I was just going to say, see if you'd like this. So they come down. They're going to cost them, right? They go to super kick Roman, but instead of hitting Roman either ducks or throws Solo in the path of the super kick, and they super kick Solo.
Yeah, that'll be another one. That'll be another good possibility right there. I like that one.
Which therefore would help Roman, like storyline wise, get Solo to even more so turn on. Hey, they just kicked your head off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would make for a interesting turn of events.
I feel like I don't have Jay. My idea is that Jay is gonna super kick him, but it won't happen till the match with Cody. That's the only thing. Because I truly believe Roman's going to get a super kick by the Usos, but it's going to happen probably when they face Cody. And Cody is like, it's going to be like one of those ending scenes where, hey, Roman's going to ask Jay to do something. Jay's not going to do it. Roman will punch him.
Yeah.
And Jay's just going to throw a super kick. Then we're going to start to build towards Jay Uso versus Roman Reigns in a little rivalry match,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I definitely can't picture Roman winning that. Winning a nice chip. I can't picture that.
And I think this is what happens. I think, okay, like you said, if the plan is to have him, obviously get Costa belts and drop the belts at SummerSlam, then he does his little feud with Jay. I think after that feud is when he will take a very long and very well-deserved break.
100%. He needs his vacation.
That's probably when he'll do a movie or two, I'm guessing, because he's obviously, we know he's he's looking at taking the same path as his cousin. And he's got Dwayne there to help him get a foot in the door, so to speak. Again, like I think I was listening to Paul Heyman a while back. He is going to be selective, obviously, at first with his roles, obviously, to see what, where he kind of fits in Hollywood in the sense of what kind of roles are going to be best suited to him, because he's only had a bit part in a movie so far.
It was Fast and Furious. I think that was the first time he was in the movie.
Yeah. So I believe that he's got acting chops there, because you look at what he's done in this whole Bloodline storyline since he's been a heel. So he's definitely got acting chops there. And I hope that it's handled correctly, and I think it will be. I don't think he's going to be another Miz getting the crappy B roles, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't think he'll ever be like a headliner like his cousin, but he could definitely be, second or third sort of name in.
I'm about to say, I think he has to start off small.
He will, yeah,
movies,
yeah.
Do a couple weird movies that people think are going to be trash or whatever.
Basically the same as what The Rock and Cena had to do.
Rock, Cena, Batista, like every actor, every wrestler turned actor has always had to start off like in a like crappy, weird movie. Then they start to get those big mega roles like Cena and Rock in the Fast and Furious or the Black Adam. Batista, we know, is so versatile in his acting that he could do basically about anything that you want him to.
Yeah.
So
he definitely
starts off weird.
Proved that to me. Talking about him quickly, he definitely proved that to me with the cabin that cabin movie. Is it Cabin in the Wood? No.
Yeah, Cabin in the Wood. He carried that film.
Yeah.
It was main. It was just all he carried that.
Yeah. Before that, I thought I didn't want to think it, but it just came more across that way, that he was so one-dimensional with the characters he was playing up until that point, and then he played that character in that movie, and it really proved me wrong and showed, damn, okay, so he has got a lot more range there to him than what it seemed that he had. Because he was that character was so emotional.
I got into an argument with one of my best friends about the Rock Batista acting.
Yeah.
And I told him, no, Rock is a good actor, but he's not Dave. Dave is just a phenomenal actor.
I think Dave's got more.
He kept saying that. Yeah, I tried to explain that to him, and I was like, yo, Dave is in all these movies that you don't expect a former wrestler to be in. Like, he was, when I saw Blade Runner, and I know he only had like a scene like for like 15 minutes in that Blade Runner movie, it told me, oh, Batista's not a typical wrestling actor. No. He's a great actor.
Both him and Cena have got more range than The Rock, I think.
Yes.
Rock to me works well in action movies.
Playing the same character all the time.
Yeah. He works well in action movies. Like, he is, as I said, I've said it before about him, he's basically the new Schwarzenegger, new Stallone action movies. Mm-hmm. That's his forte. Whereas Cena and Batista, they've got more range. They can do more stuff. Like, look at Cena when he did the voice of the bull in the animated movie. And then I've seen pictures. Not that the movie's out, but I've seen pictures of what he's up to in the Barbie movie, for example.
I forgot he was in that movie.
Yeah, and he's got stilettos and everything, like these high heel boots and everything on. So he's got range in that sense. Like, he can do drama. This is the same with Batista. They can do drama. They can do action. They can do comedy. So that's 3 different genres right there. Whereas Rock, he's got that comedy action, I guess you could say.
Big black motherfucker playing an action hero. That's always, and I love Rock, but that's always how I see it. Like, in most of his movies, it's the same. Fast and Furious, same character. Yep. Black Adam, same character.
Same kind of character. Yep.
What's the other movie he was in that I saw? Jumanji, same character. It's the same thing with him. And
the good thing, though, is when he teams up with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart really brings a comedic side. Which is good.
That's his partner right there. Yeah. That's his partner.
Exactly. But no, he is a bit one-dimensional in that sense compared to Dave and John. And I think Roman won't be one-dimensional. I think if you're just going to go off of what he's done, as I said, this heel character and the bloodline and everything, there's been a lot of intricacies and aspects and different ways he's portrayed. Like, he's portrayed anger, he's portrayed disappointment. Like, he's got, you can already see the range there. Obviously, it's going to be different going into a movie, and he's going to have to work and build on that. But he's got the baseline there to say, be in the same mold as a Dave Bautista and John Cena. And so, you know, give it some time, and maybe he can be, you know, we'll have to just wait and see. Maybe he can be that headline act like them in a variety of different genre of movie. So, you know, it'll be good for him. Obviously, the next match, we had Liv Morgan and Raquel going up against Damage Control. Again, that is what it was.
Yeah.
It did what it needed to do, I guess you could say. Bayley's good at selling you on the match. She always has been since she's been this heel. Knows how to get everybody over. And both her and Kai are great workers. I thought it was interesting before the match that there was the subtle little drop of hints, maybe that they might be on the verge of
breaking up.
Yes,
yeah.
It might be a bit of a, obviously not as a slower burn as the Bloodline story, but still that little slow burn there. But the seeds are definitely being planted. What'd you think about Asuka's heel turn, crashing Bianca's celebration?
I loved it because it's been, when was the last time we saw heel Asuka in wrestling? She's always been like a little bit of the face or like a great character. Yeah. Like, now she's full on, I'm heel, and I like it. I love the reaction from Bianca, because Bianca saw the hell out of that miss.
Bro, didn't she? She was.
Did you see the post clip afterwards? Like, she said, "I'm gonna get my lick back."
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what Bianca needs. She really needs a story, but she needs a feud. And I think having Asuka feud with her helps.
Yeah.
Because they got great chemistry. Just go back and watch the WrestleMania match if you don't believe me. Like, they got great chemistry.
And she needed that strong heel competitor since she's been moved over to SmackDown. Because Charlotte's still a babyface at the moment. So.
Yeah, and Charlotte's not coming back for a minute. Like, even though she's still drafted, I think she drafted the Raw or SmackDown. But
no, she's on SmackDown still. Yeah, she's on SmackDown still.
Oh, she's on SmackDown? Okay, because Charlotte's doing like a bodybuilding competition, so she's not coming back for a minute.
So that's what I mean. They needed that strong heel, and I think Asuka fits the bill so well, especially now that she's got this more aggressive, violent character.
The Kana character.
Yeah, unpredictable. And yeah, I thought both women played into that so well. I love her sort of smart ass, sort of dancing as well. A sadistic laugh. As you said, Bianca sold it down to a T, all the way backstage. She was still selling it, screaming and squealing, and get it out of my eye, So like it was so well done. And I hope that feud continues for at least another match or two. And
build the night, right? I'm gonna say that's probably gonna be Nights of Champions, and Nights of Champions looking like it's gonna have a stacked card.
Yeah, and that's we'll be talking about that next week, because that next week will be leading into the the three pay-per-views, as Paul mentioned last time. We got the NXT and the Night of Champions pay-per-view, as well as AEW.
Oh shit, Double or Nothing,
yeah.
That's the 29th. God damn.
Yeah, I know. So next week's show is going to be big with. It's just going to be full-blown, the three pay-per-view predictions, pretty much. So, speculation town, so to speak. And then, of course, to finish the night off, as we know, we finished with AJ and Bobby, which I actually thought was a pretty decent match to end the night on. And we got Styles coming out, obviously, on top. But, Bobby put up a great fight. He certainly didn't look weak in the match, which was great on WWE storytelling, perspective. And obviously we get an AJ versus Seth, as we mentioned earlier. But obviously now moving across, AEW had what was, in my opinion, probably their best card that I've seen them have for a Dynamite in a long, long time. It was pay-per-view quality, top to bottom, with a couple of promos, from FTR and Christian, obviously thrown in there. That was what they were. But we had the Anna Jay AS versus Julia Hart. Man, that match. That match was something else for females. That was another one. They seem to like putting the females in there in some hardcore bloody situations, which I like to see.
That was a street fight, right?
It was.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And those two went at it. And apparently the rumor has it there is a little bit of heat between the two backstage, so that kind of played into
added flavor.
It did, yeah. And it always does when you have two people that bring the real life heat into it. As long as they still keep each other safe, obviously in the ring, and work safely. But that was a phenomenal match. What was your thoughts on those two girls? Yeah, bringing it out.
Yeah, I think Anna Jay was the one. I mean, okay, I'll keep it a buck. I'll say Anna Jay, respectfully. Sheesh, respectfully, because did you see her, bro, man?
Yeah.
Like. Did you? You know what I'm talking about, though.
Well, what part in particular are you talking about? Are you talking about that, like how messed up she got, or?
Not exactly. Not exactly.
No.
I'm just talking about like a certain part of her body. That's all. But
yeah.
Anna Jay is like very beautiful, but man, and she killed it. She actually, I think, she's been doing some work on Dark and Dark Elevation before all this. So seeing her wrestle, and she's pretty good. Like, she wrestled last time she had a championship match, I believe, don't quote me, I believe it was Jade at was it Double or Nothing? Might have been Jade Double or Nothing, where they did Anarchy in the arena. No, I'm actually, that's wrong. It was, I think it was a Double or Nothing premiere. It might have been the year before.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, when I'm saying, audience. But Anna Jay, good. Julia Hart is very talented. She's been getting more impressive in the ring since the formation of the House of Black.
Oh,
that's something that she definitely wanted to work on. And she, like, you could definitely see it. It was a very great street fight. Their women's division is definitely top tier. Like,
one of the best out there. I think they've got one of the best women divisions out there.
So it's definitely it's going to keep getting better and better, and that match just showed it. So I don't even have, it's like the words, like it's just.
I know. Well, between that match and then the like the real hardcore match between a couple months back.
Kenny and I
was just going to the
Kenny and Mox. I'm having a brain fart. She's
keep it on the females from it, but a few months back you had that hardcore match between Ruby and
Tay. Ruby had a
Tay,
busted open.
Oh yeah, she was, man. I don't know how the hell she could keep singing. She had.
Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about women doing having blood matches? Because I know that it's starting to become a big deal online.
Obviously, if they're for it themselves, then that's great. I actually think it adds to it.
Okay.
And I don't mind it. I don't want to see it. Obviously, they don't need to be bleeding in every match. But if the match is like it was a hardcore match, or an extreme match or something like that, I think they have the right, if they're both agreeable to it, to bleed like men, to add to the match. They're getting hit with chairs, they're getting hit with this, they're getting hit with that. And I just thought for so long when they did do that with women in other promotions, it just, I think that was what was lacking to the whole, viewer tuning in, or even if you were at the event, like, why the men have the same match and they get busted wide open. It adds to the, I guess, the glorification of it and everything like that. But you're kind of expecting it, and so I think it's good. Maybe in Ruby's case, and I think actually hers, I think she may have just cut a little bit too deep. That was just
That was like
that was nasty, bro. Yeah,
I remember when Britt got busted open in that match against
yeah, and that was bad enough too. And then like you seen Ruby, and you're like, wow, this poor woman. But yeah, no, I don't mind it as long as it's, as I said, it doesn't need to be in every match. If the match is what it is, then yeah, you know, I'm happy for it because, as I said, I just think it adds something extra to it, and gets the fans, especially fans of hardcore style, right into it. Like, yeah, bust her up, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't mind it. As I said, I just think sometimes they could go a little bit overboard with it, and I think, as I said, it was just a mistake in Ruby's match. I don't think it was meant to be that deep, and therefore I don't think it was meant to be that much blood.
I mean, it in a weird way, like the blood matches did kind of put the women division on the map.
It did. Yeah.
I would definitely say it put Britt on the map.
Yes.
Because her match against Thunder Rosa, when she got real busted open and had that like shot where she was smiling and all that. And it's just,
yeah. I mean, they obviously over there are enjoying it in the sense that, hey, we can do what the men can do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to be looked at as tough as these men, you know? We want to be looked at on the same level. We can do the same shit, you know, so to speak. So no, that was that again. The Jade Julia Hart match was fantastic. Then of course we had the double jeopardy with Ray Phoenix and Claudio. I thought, you know, you got two superb athletes in there. It was what it was. If Ray was in there with another high flyer, obviously it would have been a little bit more entertaining. But again, they put on a decent show. What else did we have? The AEW World Trios Championship. That was a really good match. Yeah, best friends in.
I like that blackout match or something that they called it. The open house match. I like the format of that. I like it, and I like also like how they're giving House of Black, you know, their just due because we've been waiting for House of Black to get those championships for a minute. So
yeah, bro, and I hope they keep them on, give them a lengthy run, you know, keep them on them for a while. So
I think you're going to get what you're asking for, only because I don't see anybody else in the trios division that really stands out.
No, exactly. And just quickly, I see Yobi in the chat. He said he honestly, when it comes to the women's, he said, I honestly feel it's needed. Why? Because the women can go just as hard as the men if their bosses trust them enough. Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
He remembers the Hell in a Cell match between Sasha and Charlotte was good. It could have been epic if they were to climb the cell and fight on top of it and do spots, etc. Yeah, you're not wrong. And
yeah, you're not. It's tough with that because they also want to protect them. And WWE is very about, you know, safety for the athletes and all that.
It is,
which is why like they're just. It's surprising that they're just getting back into blood.
Exactly. And so, you know, the women over in AEW obviously went to Tony and said what they wanted to do, and you know, I'm happy that they're getting their chance, you know, over there in that company, and it works for them. You know, they are being presented, you know, in the same light as the guys. Just as tough, just as willing to take risks and get down and dirty, so to speak, especially with a lot of these hardcore matches. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. Of course, then we had the AEW International Championship match between Mr. Slothman, as I like to call him, Orange Cassidy, and good old Daniel Garcia.
Man, Orange Cassidy, bro, can carry.
Oh,
just a worker, bro.
And young Danny Garcia, man, like from a technical standpoint, is just masterful to watch. He really is. He has had some of the best matches in AEW. And this was just another notch on his belt. You know, obviously it was a different style of wrestler for him, but it just so worked in the ring.
I disagree with that point only because Orange Cassidy's so good that he can work anybody's style. If you want to be technical, he can do technical. If you want to be the high flyer, he'll let you be the high flyer. I always say,
yeah, you're not wrong.
I always say like that. What was that match? Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. I know a lot of people are heavy on Will Ospreay, and I generally like him too. But he's not like what y'all think he is. Like, he got carried by Orange Cassidy in the match because Orange Cassidy is probably one of the best wrestlers on AEW.
Yeah. It's just like his matches with Kenny. Kenny carried him a lot. Will Ospreay's a great wrestler, but he's still a level underneath.
Yeah, because he doesn't
Kenny
know his
Omega.
style yet.
No,
he doesn't know what he wants to do.
And he's still young to figure it out too. The talent's obviously there, and he's also talented on the microphone as well. Just quickly glad to see that he's already turned around and said he will be at All In. So that's fantastic to hear as well, because as I said, I think he needed to be on that card. He's British.
He is on it? He's going to be at All In?
Yeah. He came out and said he will be there. Hasn't said, obviously we don't know what match or whatever, but, he could either do something solo or he might even be in a trio.
That's actually tough now.
Yeah, if he's not doing something solo, he might be in a trios match with Aussie Open, who's a part of his...
Aussie Open, yeah. I was about to say, they might run it back with Kenny again, or you might get Elite versus Aussie Open, which would probably be a fire match.
Yeah. Oh, what do they call themselves? The United Empire. United Empire. That's it. So yeah, you might get the Elite versus the United Empire, which I think with those three. With those six guys, will be a heck of a match. And then of course we finished the night, the pay-per-view quality with Kenny versus John in a steel cage match, which was absolutely brutal. It was. What was your thoughts on the match first? And then second question to that is, how did you feel about the turn at the end? Did you see it coming?
All right. I enjoyed the hell out of the match because it's hard to find a Kenny Omega match that I don't like. But Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley have always been like very violent since the start of AEW. Like they first match at a Full Gear, that unsanctioned match. Like they've always been violent. Like they'll destroy the ring. They'll rip off the mat. They'll go through cages. They'll go through barbed wire. Like they don't care. Those dudes want to make premier violence in the wrestling ring, especially Jon Moxley.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Like that V trigger into the steel cage, just fucking awesome. I thought Kenny really hurt himself too, because he got hung on. Like he got hung on, I think, like the cage part with his leg. So a part of me really was scared. Like, I thought he fucked up his leg. But now going to Don Callis, I'm not surprised because I saw it coming. They were kind of building towards that a little bit. And I think it's better that way, because to me, Don Callis isn't a face, and Kenny Omega is now back to being a face character. Don Callis has always been heel, but it's very. And so now the question to me is there's two questions. Is Don Callis going to join the Blackpool Combat Club? Because I kind of know, we both know that it's going to be double or nothing between Elite and Blackpool Combat Club.
Right.
So it'll be the Elite, including Hangman Adam Page versus all of Blackpool Combat Club. That'll most likely be, because double or nothing's at Vegas again?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So that'll probably be Anarchy in the Arena, since it had such big success last year.
Yeah.
I think they're building the blood and guts. And they both need two more members. No, both squads need one more member. Excuse me. So Blackpool Combat needs one more member, and the Elite would need one more member to do like a 5-on-5 blood.
Which I think that one more member might be Hangman.
Hangman, because he'll be the he'll be the fourth. Hangman will be the fourth member.
Yeah.
So the fifth member will probably be Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
So the fifth member go ahead.
If it's not him, then I was gonna say to be Takeshita, but now
that's where I'm going. Takeshita will probably turn on. So I think double or nothing. We'll see a swerve by Takeshita. He'll turn on the Elite because he's like Kenny's protege. Like him and Kota Ibushi both trained him, and that's the thing with AEW storylines, which help and hurts. Where
if I'm not mistaken, too, they were.
Go ahead.
That's why Kenny was a bit ominous about him joining, because they were feuding in New Japan. Those two. So that would make sense, and Don gets him to turn. The only thing I don't like is I don't think Don's a fit for. I don't think Don is a fit for the Blackpool Combat Club. I agree.
I don't think he's a fit either.
No, and I don't think William Regal was perfect for him, obviously, but Don Callis I don't look at as this I know he's a snake in the grass, but I don't look him as like William Regal. I don't look at him as a vicious, dangerous.
Blackpool, or like I call him like Blackpool Murder Squad member.
Yeah.
That it doesn't fit Don Callis. Like, I
mean,
he could probably make it work, but it wouldn't be believable. So
the only reason I say you could be right in the sense that maybe he does at least side with them for a bit, and at least is Daniel Bryan was laughing a lot. As if
getting stabbed, someone getting stabbed.
Yeah, as if, and laughing a lot in the sense, like, if you're looking at it from the story perspective, like, I knew he was going to turn, this was planned, kind of thing from a, you know what I mean? So maybe they just used Don in that sense, like, well, you got the inside knowledge on Kenny and that, so that's just going to help us, so, I agreed, though, with, I forget now. There was someone who commented on it, and he just wished it was a wrestler. I just forget who it is now. But anyway, the comment was made that they wished Don would have had been facing the cameras to sell it more instead of facing away from the cameras and trying to sell it that way, and had been a little bit more aggressive with the way he went in with the screwdriver, which I agreed with. I kind of thought he was a little bit lackadaisical on that, and then he's. You saw more the back of his head as he's saying whatever he's saying to the crowd. And so I think they kind of lost it a little bit there, but that's on Don, not on anybody else. But, yeah, I thought I could see that turn coming, I like you said, because just purely based on Don Callis just does not work as a babyface. He works well and truly better as a heel character. And Kenny's now back to being a babyface, which I actually think suits Kenny better. I really do.
Yeah.
He's always, to me, I know he even with his Bullet Club stint and everything, it wasn't like it was an awkward fit, but it was like, hey, especially when he became leader, I want to turn Bullet Club babyface, because he just has that babyface look. He has that babyface appeal.
He's got that babyface like personality.
He does, too. Yeah. Like he's a video gamer, which people are attracted to.
I'm like, he fucks heavy with the New Day, like Xavier and all of them.
Yeah.
So
and his style of wrestling is just definitely leans into that because it's like exciting, like Ray's style, I guess you could say, in the sense, the high flying and everything like that. And because, as I said, he's a good talker. He's not a great talker, but he's a good talker. I think, he's better off as naturally as a babyface because he likes to joke. You see him on All Elite. Not All Elite. Being Elite. He likes to joke around and stuff like that. Whereas, see, the Young Bucks, they can work, but they work both ways. Like, they work brilliantly as babyface. They can also work brilliantly as heels, but
because they're assholes in general.
Yeah, they can have that
asshole.
Yeah, they can get that real cockiness about them. Whereas Kenny kind of needs to really put that on, I guess you could say, more so than anything. He's more laid back and chilled and friendly. He doesn't have that asshole about him, I guess you could say. So when they have to portray him as heel and he has to be cocky, it's like he has to really put that over and push it, you know what I mean? And you can just tell it's not fully awkward, but it's a bit awkward for him. You can just kind of feel that, I guess, because it doesn't that's what I'm looking for. It doesn't come out naturally for him. Unfortunately. So that's why, no, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I think you're right. I think it's going to lead to a blood and guts match. And like you said, possibly Takeshita turning. He becomes the newest member of the BCC.
Blackpool.
And
Coda. That's how they got Yuta. They just beat his ass and he joined.
And man,
that's what they do in a Kaneshka. How you say it? Takeshka?
Takeshita. Yeah,
Takeshita. All right.
Or if you want to be a smart ass and say it the way MJF, take a shitter. I thought that was brilliant. You take a shitter. No, but shout out to my boy MJF, of course. He's just doing wonders with his character too, man. Like in that belt,
Yeah.
And he's really selling that Four Pillars match. That's going to be a phenomenal match.
Oh yeah,
I think he comes out on top. But yeah,
no, 100%. Yeah, He's MJF's not losing that belt for probably.
no, I don't think he loses it till
full
All
gear.
In.
Probably full gear next year.
Yeah. I have a feeling if they were going to take it off him soon, they'd do it at a bigger event, and then that'd be All In. That'd be the
I don't even think
earliest.
I think he'll hold it. How long did Kenny hold the belt? For almost a half a year.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably be their first full year champion.
The thing is that if what I've been reading's right, and if it is going to be the matchup for him at All In, then they need to capitalise and he has to drop it. And if that's against Adam Cole, they can't have him beat Adam Cole. They can't have him beat Adam Cole. Not now, not after the story, the whole thing that they did with him coming back. He is probably...
Adam Cole.
Yeah,
fucking Adam Cole. Nah, you got me. I'm Adam Cole all day. Every day.
Bro. Yeah, same. He is...
Forget the story. It's just Adam Cole, bro.
Yeah, man. He is probably the most over person right now. In
AEW,
yeah. He is so hot right now. It would be stupid, in my opinion, if you put him against him and then have him lose. I just think while the iron's hot, you gotta go with it, and if that is what they're gonna go with it All In, then
which is usually the theme of AEW. This is no shot, but they usually do. I will give them credit. Usually they do when the iron's hot, we're gonna put the belt on you, which helps and hurts. It helps and hurts. Yeah. It's not always a good thing. And
if this is what they're gonna do for All In, then it will benefit them because he is so over, as I said, and he deserves a run. He should have got that run in WWE, and then it just didn't happen, obviously, when it came to the main roster side of things. And so, he deserves it, and it's believable. It is. You can see him beating MJF, and that's that.
100%. He's going to carry MJF. Don't get me wrong, but
he is.
But he's going to. It's that's the thing about the MJF title run. It's sometimes hard to believe some of these people that we know are better. Yeah, well, MJF style wrestling is also the same. That he's going to cheat and win. That's always the theme of MJF.
He's getting better though. He is getting better.
Yeah, no, he is getting better. Like the Iron Man match was very good, but you also knew that there was going to be moments where he was going to have to take a break to catch his breath and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I think the 4-pillar match, like you saying, is going to be very good. They're all talented in the ring.
And see, because it's a 4-way, they're all going to have that breather throughout that match. Obviously, someone will get thrown to the outside, so that'll be their time to have their little rest period. Sammy is probably definitely going to go the hardest because he just flips.
I'm like him and Darby are both spot people. So Jungle Boy is more of the technical. He'll do the high flying stuff. He's kind of like a Shawn Michaels to me every time I look at Jungle Boy.
He's been in between. Yeah, exactly.
But he's definitely gonna go. So, but MJF is going to definitely come out like that's a pre-ordained match. Like you already know that MJF is winning. That
because none of the other.
I don't even know if I want that to be the main event, honestly, because I'd rather just have
because you kind of know it's
versus, I'd rather just have Blackpool versus the Elite go. Yeah.
I mean, maybe do what, WWE does sometimes, have a co-main event and have that as the first main event and then have something that follows it,
I agree with that logic. Yeah. The only thing is that Tony Khan would never do that.
No, I know, because then he'll feel like he's copying too much in that sense. Yeah. I totally get it from that standpoint as well. So, I thought it was one of the better AEWs. Dynamites that we'd seen in a while. He billed it as a pay-per-view quality Dynamite, and it definitely lived up to it, especially with the matchups that he had. So that was fantastic to see, and that's only going to help them continue to build steam. Leading, obviously they got double or nothing first, but leading up to their WrestleMania, as I like to say, All In, which I think they've now surpassed 70,000 tickets and still counting. But, of course, moving this train right along to the second last topic of the evening, which is actually an interesting one I stumbled across. And this man, of course, he's had his time in the business, whether you love him or you hate him. He's had hits and he's had misses in the business. But Eric Bischoff believes AEW isn't contributing to pro wrestling, unlike WWE. Now, what he means with that is... obviously him being a vet, most fans see value in his opinion. I certainly do, just from his time in the business. He ran a company, and he ran a company that was whooping WWE, well known at the time WWF's ass, for what was it, 83 or 84 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And
he never fails to remind us.
No. And in my opinion too, I know people are harsh on this, but he isn't the downfall of WCW, because at that time, when they brought Russo in, before I continue here, when they brought Russo in, who I mainly blame for it, apart from also AOL Time Warner at the time, just not really wanting anything to do with wrestling, that also played into it. But Bischoff was burnt out. So he took a step away, and that's when WCW started going downhill, because they didn't have his creativeness there. But he took a step away because he was, running out of ideas, and he needed to refreshen up and that. So, that's what
contract, you do. The contract with Hogan also hurt them too, the whole creative control thing.
Yeah. But anyway, he's obviously from the get-go largely been critical, as we know, of AEW. He always seems to have a lot to say, and it seems to always be in a negative light for a while now. Last year, he even called AEW a vanity project. In fact, Eazy-E even repeatedly criticised AEW for having poorly crafted storylines. That I do a lot of the time agree with, and I think we can agree, and we've talked about this before. That's probably their weak spot, hence why I continue to say Tony does need to hire writers. So Eric's got a point there. And sometimes he feels that, they're just having matches just for the sake of it. So AEW president, obviously, Tony Khan, is certainly passionate about pro wrestling, obviously being a long-time fan. And he's more like a fan, when you think about it, than an actual president, especially according to a lot in the industry. It's a known fact that Khan's father, Shahid, has paid millions of dollars for the company. The belief is that AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery are expected to announce a new deal, which I think they just did 48 hours ago. The new deal has been inked. But while speaking, just about 4 days ago on Strictly Business, shout out to them, Bischoff, the Hall of Famer from WCW and WWE, talked about AEW's current status in the industry. He called AEW Tony Khan's hobby, and added that AEW contributes nothing to the industry, unlike WWE. He went on to say, Tony Khan had one unique advantage that MLW doesn't have, or anybody else. He had $100 million. He's got an unlimited budget he's not accountable for. It's a really, really, really well-funded hobby by his dad. And that's not a negative, Bischoff added. It's not a do-or-die situation for Tony. This is his passion. But I feel AEW isn't contributing. AEW isn't taking advantage of the success of the WWE, for example. It is because there is this company called WWE that is worth $9 billion that makes executives in the industry go, we might be able to be worth $9 billion too, but we could be worth a lot because the market is here. WWE, though, has established a worldwide market for this product more than anybody else. If WWE would have been in the tank 4 years ago and would have been flatlining and not selling out arenas and just stumbling through pay-per-views, do you think Turner would have jumped on AEW? I don't, Bischoff said. He also stated that AEW isn't even a fraction of what WCW was. Regardless, though, we will have to wait and see whether this company will actually end up making a mark in the industry, especially after AEW's All-In's inevitable success. So, after me reading that little statement from Eric, what's your take on what Bischoff had to say? Do you think it's just sour grapes on his behalf, or do you think he's actually got some good points?
It's both. It's sour grapes, and he has some good points. Listen, for the audience, for context, Eric Bischoff did do some things with AEW during the pandemic and early on.
He did, yeah.
Ever since I think Tony Khan got rid of him, he's been hating on AEW. It's getting like, all right, bro, you gotta get their dick out your mouth, bro. This is unnecessary. This is unnecessary hate. We get that. Everybody understands that. First off, no one's surpassing WWE. No one.
No.
It's over. That no company is surpassing what Vince McMahon created, and that what were they? How much did they sell for the Endeavor? Like over $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion?
No, wasn't it? Was it?
It was $9 billion.
Yeah, somewhere between 7 and 9. It might have been 9, but I'm just
$9 billion.
Yeah, 7 and 9.
I thought $3 billion, $9 billion. See, you're not beating that. Like
no,
and getting All In sold out, which I think it will be sold out at Wembley, is a phenomenal win for AEW. But at the end of the day, we both know if WWE would have done that, that joint would have been sold out within a week. It's that they're
hell, it could have been sold out in a couple of hours.
couple hours. Like you're right. It's they're ingrained in history that it's like they're the NFL of pro wrestling. You're not beating the NFL no matter what you do. The XFL might be cool, but it's not beating the NFL. Right. So what you do is just you continue to do what you do best, and what AEW does best is you put on great wrestling matches. Like that's what you do better than WWE. Like that card the past Wednesday was a pay-per-view level card. Those were phenomenal matches, and that's what they do best. Now, obviously, they have flaws that they do need to work on. What they need to work on, especially in Tony Khan, since he's the only one in control of everything, they need to stop the what's the word I want to use? They have the inconsistency problem where they have someone that's hot like Orange Cassidy before he won a title, or Wardlow when coming off the MJF feud, and then they just get cold immediately, and then we don't see him ever again, or something like a Miro situation.
Yes.
So, and obviously you mentioned on the whole he's a fan. I agree with that too. Like Tony Khan's got to stop being a fan. He's got to be.
Well, that's exactly where he's come from, and he's admitted to that he was a fan, and we all know that. Look, some of his money, because he has got his own money, even though Eric may not believe that, but he does actually have some of his own money.
No,
but
he's got his bread.
Yeah, his dad did help him purchase this originally. But I think since the purchase, though, his dad's been completely hands off and just letting him
run. Shit, at this point, I feel like Tony runs everything.
Yes.
AEW.
Yes.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
He does. He does. Well, he's the spokesperson.
They got a soccer team, too. They got a soccer team that he helps run. He runs about everything.
I just forget. Is it?
It's in Jacksonville. It's some soccer team.
No. It's in the English Premier League.
Is it the Premier League?
Fulham.
Okay.
Yeah, Fulham.
Okay.
Yeah, Fulham. But yeah, I think his dad, may inject a little bit of money here and there, but majority of the money now is coming from Tony, and obviously the money that they're getting from Warner Brothers Discovery as well.
There's that too. That's what
and I mean, as I said, they just signed new deals. The only thing that wasn't included in the new deal, so it must be being separate because Tony has said the whole time they are being run as separate companies, is Ring of Honor. That wasn't included in the new deal, so I don't know if Ring of
Honor...
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think what they're going to do is obviously, so Dynamite, the new Saturday show, and Rampage obviously will all still be on Warner Brothers, like TNT and TBS. Ring of Honor right now, like I've read news that they are looking at streaming service to get on. So I'm wondering if Ring of Honor will be
on Max.
Yeah, on Max, or well, obviously until they get that up and running, maybe it goes to like Dark and that, and it's on the YouTube channel or something initially until they've got that started. So because that, as I said, because he is actually running them as two separate companies, like he's not saying it's Ring of Honor presented by AEW, so he's actually sticking with it's Ring of Honor. So that's interesting. But obviously back to Bischoff's comments. Yeah, I mean, he's had sour grapes, obviously. We know this goes all the way back to WCW dying. He didn't like that day that came, and I don't even think he really liked initially. He obviously enjoyed his time, but he didn't really like having to work for the man that he was beating, and he thought that his company was gonna be the opposite way around. He thought WCW was going to beat WWE into the ground, and WWE be the one to sell. It just didn't play out that way. And like you said, early on in AEW's history. He was there, especially during the pandemic. We were seeing him on.
Like he was on segments. Like
yeah. Oh, just quickly.
There.
Shout out to the realist. What's good, bro? What's good? Thank you.
What's up, realist?
And Vic. My brother Vic, what you drinking tonight, bro? What you drinking? Hopefully something good. Hennessy?
That's the only way to go.
But, man. Oh, yeah, good old Henny. But, yeah, no, he, like you said, ever since they sort of went their separate ways, he's done nothing but sort of badmouth him at every turn and pick at him at every turn. And, look, like you touched on, we know Tony's a fan. And
where he needs to be a boss. Like
we
talk, everybody talks about that. Like, yo, you got to be a boss. Like, I get that you love pro wrestling, you love somebody, you love your people there, but you gotta be a boss because you know your wrestling history.
Yes,
that's the thing. You saw how WCW fell.
Yes, exactly.
So you gotta.
Well, he would have watched that, and he would have also watched how Impact fell.
I was just about to bring that up too. Like that's the thing, Eric Bischoff. You ain't got a whole lot of room to talk, bro. You did kill Impact.
Yes, and they are lucky to still be survived. Thankfully, they've got a multi-billion-dollar company behind them now, even though they're not probably ever going to be back onto the level or
what they once were.
No. Because they have got that Anthem behind them, but Anthem only gives them a certain amount of money. But they are probably the biggest independent, and that's what I consider them now, the biggest independent promotion out there. So they've pretty much taken Ring of Honor's place, I guess you could say. Since Ring of Honor now, even though it's been run as a separate company, it's kind of I wouldn't exactly call it independent anymore since it's kind of moved up in the world a little bit. It's obviously not in line with AEW or definitely not with WWE, but it's like that middle ground between independent and, the higher echelon, I guess you could say.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I view it the same way too.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's like it's indie, but without being indie.
Yeah. But no, I think, like, as you said, it's sour grapes, but he has got some points. Like, one good point that he does make is, like he was talking about storyline-wise.
Yeah, I agree with that. Too, because
sometimes
AEW storylines are usually based off previous storylines that have already happened.
Yes.
And not in the sense of, like, this happened at Ring of Honor, or you got to watch BTE to see what's going on with this, and that's where it's like, dog, nobody got time to watch all this.
No, and so like
no
some matches,
I'm not watching all these wrestling shows. I have a PS5, bro. I have a life.
Yeah,
like I like wrestling, but dog, I want to play the game sometimes.
Yeah, hey, and so like sometimes like matches just kind of feel thrown together, and obviously some storylines just haven't played out the best or haven't been executed as well as they could have been executed. Other cases, they have executed some storylines well, because I'm not going to sit here and say that every time they've done storylines that they've all been terrible or shocking. But that is one of their...
Hangman and Omega had a great story too.
Yes, Hangman and Omega, Hangman and Mox, I thought had a great story.
That was a very good story.
What they're doing with MJF, I think
MJF, CM Punk.
Yep, I think it's been great storytelling.
But I think where Bischoff's come from is that, and it's unfair to do it because he's trying to compare everything to the Bloodline. It's like, all right, hold up, bro. The Bloodline's a different type of story.
Yeah, and the other thing that pisses me off with him is he's done this since he kind of turned on AEW and had that sour taste. He's constantly comparing it to WCW. And I know why he's doing it. Because
I know why too.
Because it's on the same station. That's one thing. It's on the same
Not
station.
Not only that, it's the same thing. They do the same stuff that WCW does.
Yes.
Tony Khan's admitted to this.
Yes, they do. He's kind of following a formula. The only difference is it's nowhere near as at the point of absolutely horrible television of what WCW was in the end. So I'll give Tony credit. He's a better storyteller than fucking Vince Russo.
Every time I see Vince Russo say something, I'm like, yo, why are people giving him a platform to talk?
Oh man, yeah, I know. And see, he was good while he was working under Vince. That's because Vince overseen everything, and everything still had to go.
Vince, you're not saying no to Vince. No. I don't care who the fuck you are.
And that's where WCW went wrong. Oh no, it's not McMahon. Vince Russo is something special. Look what he's done for the Attitude Era and everything. I'm like, nope. That's only because he's under Vince's,
Vince.
Control and that. And the minute they got him, they found out real quick, okay, so he isn't the magician that we all thought he was. No, he's not. He had the most stupid story. Even when he was writing for Impact, he had the most ridiculous, storylines that he came up with.
I forgot he was an Impact.
Yeah, he went over there. That was early in the piece, even before Bischoff and Hogan got there.
It was him and Jim Cornette, right?
Yes, yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Corny. I love his podcast because he's always so controversial. And sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. But he's funny in that regard. But no, Russo went over to Impact, and Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett found out real quick too that he's not the greatest writer at all. And thankfully, they didn't have him in there a hell of a long time. I think he was there for about 2 years, before he got ousted. But Bischoff, he just... Look, I know you got sour grapes about WCW, but AEW isn't that. I mean, for starters, AEW is a lot more hardcore than WCW ever was. Straight out. I personally also think they've got better talent than what WCW had
100%.
Had in the end of things. I mean, even when WCW brought in Hogan and Nash and all that, they were more heading into the twilight of their careers, and they just, I think that's kind of, that was the start of the downfall. They just kind of hogged too much TV time, and that's why... Because
the NWO took over.
It did. And the NWO ran its course for a good 2-year stretch there, and then that was it. They should have just let it die then. And those guys should have just, rode off into the sunset. But that's why guys like Jericho, Eddie, Benoit, all had to, Perry Saturn even, they all had to get out of their Ray because they were never going to be elevated. They were never going to be getting that time to shine. And the thing is, I'm right on that because they didn't until they went to the E. And that's where they all started to shine and got utilised and used properly. Because Vince at least understood when a wrestler got to a certain age that you kind of had to, I guess the term would be, start phasing them out. They start going into that training mode of putting the younger guys out, and then you start building up younger talent so you can keep your company going, and that's one thing he did understood, he got out at the right time with Hogan, I believe, when he sent Hogan over to WCW. Just like...
That was also during the whole steroid stuff, too, so they had to, clean house with a lot of people who were, possibly using.
The thing with Bischoff calling it, a hobby for Tony Khan, I don't think it is, because he's that passionate and serious. He is serious about wanting to get his promotion, at least in the... close enough to be in the same breath as WWE and really competing. He wants to compete against Vince and, well, I will say Triple H, and WWE. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to beat them or anything like that. But having that strong competition is only going to make both companies better, which therefore it's going to make things better for us fans. And Tony said it the whole time. They're not trying to be best or be better than WWE. They're an alternative.
And which is the right move.
Yeah.
The alternative.
They're a strong alternative. They're in as bigger arenas as what WWE is. With this all-in show, it's going to show that they can put on as big of, attendance-wise, as big of show as what WWE can. And I know this is only one place, but this is, them selling this out is going to kind of even put them more on the map, and therefore it's going to help them, in bigger arenas back in the US, in bigger arenas, elsewhere internationally. That they'll be able to sort of start doing world tours. England. They're taking the same WWE approach because WWE did the same thing back in the day. They went to England first. They had the big match back in the day, which sold it out over there. the brother-in-laws, Bret Hart versus British Bulldog.
Bret and British Bulldog.
Yeah, the SummerSlam, right? And that was their very first time outside the US. And that went off without a hitch. It was a magnificent show, and that's where they slowly started going, okay, we can branch out. You know, we're going to sell tickets. And, I mean, they've never turned back. They've come out here to Australia. They've gone to Saudi Arabia, New Zealand, Japan, China. They've been France. You know, they've been everywhere. And AEW, I think this is the start of them branching out too, as they continue to grow. And I think they do a lot of things right. As we've discussed, they do there is areas they need to improve. And I think, I've said this the whole time, once their storytelling, so that's where they need to get good writers in, which also lessen the workload for Tony, instead of Tony having to juggle so much of the order. And I think that's the problem with... How you good, bro? I think that's the problem with Tony Khan is... He's trying to take on too much backstage. He doesn't need to. This is why you've got guys. I mean, Jericho's there to help you. Christopher Daniels there to help you out.
Dean Malenko. You got people who are under Vince. Yeah. Big Show. Mark Henry.
Mark Henry. Big Show. Yeah. Dustin Rhodes.
Definitely Dustin.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got guys you can lean on. Yeah, it's good to lean on the elite too, you know, from their Japanese days, and that's good from there, but they're not strong on the storytelling over there. They're strong on the match styles and everything like that. So yeah, you can scratch their brains on the wrestling side of things, but the other guys are going to be useful for you. And as I said, like I don't think it's going to happen now because he's starting his own promotion, or he's trying to. But Freddie Prinze Jr. was waving his hand around, and he had expertise being a writer for WWE for a few years, and he was a good writer for them as well. So I think that's, as I said, that's their weak area. If that's their weakest area, it's their writing and storytelling, and that needs to catch up to their wrestling. And the minute he gets some more really, really good writers in there, and that lessens the workload for him to do or handle other things and other areas, the better. I'm not saying that Tony can't write a story. As I said, but he's just very hit and miss, I think, with it. And I think, as I said, half that problem is he's got too much on his plate. So he can't. It's not like he can put his full attention just to the writing, because he's got other areas, you know, from the gorilla position and working with the networks and et cetera. So
doing Ring of Honor,
Ring of Honor as well. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I mean, like, he can put a damn card together. I'll give him that. I mean, that's been proven many a time. And the latest was Dynamite last week. He can put a card together. He's got a lot of strong points there. Coming from being a wrestling fan for years, that's very beneficial. But you've also got to use the guys that have been on the other side and been in the industry for years that you've got at your disposal right now. And I think he is to a degree, but he needs to use them all more, and he needs to have them as a soundboard a lot more than what he is. And as I said, also, you know, I don't know where he's going to get them from, but obviously bring in some writers. Because it's storytelling and that, you could even get writers from TV and stuff like that. I mean, Vince has done that before. He's had people come in from TV and, television shows. I mean, that's what you're basically getting him to do, is write out a script and then get the wrestler to enact what they want. So, and they've just got to go out there and play their part. So it could definitely be improved. But, in this case, as I said, I agree and I disagree with Bischoff. He's really got to pick and choose his little battles, I think, because, as I said, some points he makes, you sit back and go, yeah, well, he's got a point here. Other points, you just go flat out, nah, he's just sour because of the fallout between him and Tony, and, WWE's not really working with him all that much, but yeah. All right, folks, well, we're on to the last and final topic, which we'll touch on a little bit here. Video games, bro, over the years. What's been some of your, just to wrap it up for the night, some of your favourite video games, wrestling video games, and also on the topic of video games, it has just been announced.
AEW, yep.
Yep, the achievements are now up, so we're hopefully not far away from getting a release date, and I'm like, damn, it's about damn time.
That's a fact.
Oh,
That's
man.
a fact.
I was worried there for a while because of all the troubles I have, and it was never going to see the light of freaking day.
Yeah. Like, I was talking about that was like, I think Shadow, some of my old friends, Shadow, Wolf,
Yep.
and yeah, like, yo, it was just like, sheesh, man, like, how long is this going to take to get going?
Oh, man. I'm glad, though, because this was a good topic to finish on. And because of that news, as we know with that game, it's being made by the old crew that were behind, WrestleMania 2000, WWF No Mercy, WCW NWO Revenge. So by no means, just so everybody knows, if you're not aware, they aren't trying to match 2K graphically.
Yeah, this is not a simulator.
No.
This is not a simulator.
Very much arcade, and going back to those arcade days of wrestling. So yeah, man. Again, what were some of your favourite games over the years, and are you finally looking forward to this game?
I'm excited. I haven't played like an arcade wrestling game, I think, since what was that last one they made after those Battlegrounds? It was called Battlegrounds.
Yes.
It just came to me. It was Battlegrounds. Like, and that was that was all right, but we kind of knew it was kind of like a apology letter for making WWE 2K20.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
But nah, I'm excited. I think Fright Forever has a lot of cool stuff. They have intergender matches. They have the women can bleed in it. We were just talking about that earlier. They have all these arcade mini games. I think it's going to be very cool, very fun. We've been waiting for it forever. So no pun intended. But I'm gonna pick it up. I'm curious. I don't know if it's gonna be a $70 full game, maybe $60. I can say $60. Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna pick it up. I'll definitely probably be if they add crossplay to it, I'll definitely be playing with you.
Oh,
but,
hell yeah.
But I'm definitely but back to your original question too about my favorite wrestling game, because I had to think about when I saw this topic, and it has to be SmackDown versus Raw 2007. Actually, no, 2006. It was 2006.
Nice.
This is because I think 2007 was they added ECW for the first time. But 2006 was just like top tier, arguably the greatest wrestling simulator ever. And the soundtrack that came with it was just, these are some of the rock songs. I still got my playlist today, man. Like, it was just a phenomenal track.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. That game, I mean, a lot of those earlier games had some phenomenal music. I even think, to a degree with some of the songs of 2K23, they've actually put together a nice soundtrack for that as well.
Yeah, that was nice.
I mean, for me, obviously, I go back to well and truly even the Super Nintendo days, but I loved SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, the one with Brock Lesnar on the cover.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was such a great early game in the series. That was when we still had the SmackDown game, then evolved into SmackDown versus Raw. And then, of course, the guys, as I mentioned, who were behind this AEW game, WWF No Mercy and WCW NWO Revenge were fantastic. WWF No Mercy, from just the wrestling in the ring, from that point of view, I don't think has ever been. I mean, we're finally going to get with this AEW, but they had that shit down pat. They had it.
Yeah, you're older than me, so you definitely got that one. But I've heard about it. I've heard about it a lot.
And see, this AEW game, especially because Kenny, so now he was a fan of those older styles, but he was also a fan of the Fire Pro games.
Oh yeah,
and so you're getting a bit of a mixture of the two, which I think fits with this.
He's also worked on this one too.
Yes, very much hands-on. He is, and there's been a couple other wrestlers as well as Aubrey, the female ref, had a hand in it real early as well. Which is good. especially from his point of view, like we touched on earlier, he's a gamer, mainly a lot into his Japanese games, but he loves wrestling games as well, obviously, and so he knew they wanted to put out a different product from what WWE does. WWE's obviously full-blown simulation. They're going for those realistic graphics, as we can see on the screen right now. Whereas AEW's going for more that cartoony graphics with a little bit of realism in there. Like, they don't look full-blown cartoony, but it's definitely more cartoony than WWE. And this is definitely going to be more that arcade style over simulation. They've even got little mini games to boot in between, which that baseball one looks quite fun, to be quite honest.
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah,
that looks very fun.
So that's good to see. But yeah, there's been some fantastic games over the years. Like, I even didn't mind the All-Stars games, the WWE All-Stars games that came out with all the legends, and they were sort of like cartoony and like sort of taken from NBA Jam's Big Head mode, like, so they were like bigger bodied, and that was more arcadey feel as well. But like you said, that there hasn't been too many letdowns really. I think the SmackDown vs. Raw kind of had a bit of a lull period sort of towards the end of that life before 2K kind of took over. And then 2K had not too bad with the first couple, and then 2K20 was just horrible. Just horrible. It's probably still... a lot of people even go as far as to say it might even be arguably the worst game in it.
No, I can't... I can't think of a terrible game into WWE 2K20. It was painful, man. That was bad.
And Yobi's just adding in the chat, the same game director that was on No Mercy is behind this. Yes, you're right. Which was they were all part of AKI originally, and then they were also went on to be a part of the original Ukes team. That's who's behind this, Ukes, who is the original creators of the SmackDown games, of course. And yeah, you mentioned another one there, Yobi, that was a fantastic game, that WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. I remember that on PS2, with the Rock on the
I remember
cover.
that one.
Yeah.
Yep. I definitely remember that one.
Another good
I think that was
one.
like my first introduction into the games.
Yeah.
But like, I really became a heavy wrestling like gamer. Like, it's SmackDown versus Raw. It was SmackDown versus Raw.
Because some of the good thing with some of those other games is, I mean, when you could go out in the crowd, they really allowed you to go full blown out in the crowd. They allowed you to climb on the Titantron and jump off the Titantron and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that was cool.
It introduced like created character mode.
Yeah,
I was like, I create my own wrestler now. Like, oh
yeah, exactly. And for so long, we could only obviously use the actual wrestlers. But when they brought in the CAW mode, that was crazy, man. And just that's improved so much throughout the years. I mean, look at it today. Yobi, shout out to you, brother. He's actually got me onto this dude that goes by Marty M. He has some wild arena creations that I've been downloading. He had that Raw Underground. He's built that. He built a backyard wrestling arena. He's built a longer ramped AEW sort of pay-per-view quality style, like really cool looking arena. What else has he done? Horror Carnival arena, that he had Doink the Clown as a referee. Like, just the amount of creation that you can do in the games today as time's gone on is unbelievable. And that's one thing I love getting hours into, like, not just creating the wrestler, you can create your own belt now, create your own show, create your own arena. Like, it's crazy. And it's really, like, they've allowed you to push the limits now. Like, there's sort of, like, no real limitations, I guess you could say, compared to yesteryear of what, your mind can come up with and then put it down into the game. But that all started, as you said, back in the SmackDown vs. Raw days. And you've had, like, as I mentioned, the Fire Pro series, which was fantastic, where you got to actually use the wrestlers from New Japan and All Japan. Same with the Virtual Pro Wrestling, which came before that. That was all the Japanese. Oh, they had a few WCW guys show up in that as well. And then you had a game that released in the last few, which I thought sort of kind of really took you back to the arcade days. What was it? It's called... It's got like Tommy Dream and a whole bunch of ECW guys in it and older guys in it. And it's got
that one.
Wrestle Arcadium or Wrestle Cadia or something like that. And you can get it on the Xbox, you can get it on the PlayStation. Oh, Retromania, sorry, that's it. Retromania. Okay. Yeah. I knew the name would come to me. And it's really takes you back. Like the graphics on that are like Super Nintendo type graphics, original in Nintendo. I was like, hey, this is so cool. Like going back, because I remember Super WrestleMania back on the day, like, and that's where it kind of took me with that. And as I said, you got a lot of old wrestlers in that game, so you can relive, matchups from yesteryear in that. And another good series, which was on the GameCube, I believe, was Day of Reckoning and Day of Reckoning 2. I actually really enjoyed them, and I thought that the story mode for those was fantastic. Probably some of the best story mode that was put together in a WWE game at that point in time. And I'm
about to say, I like the new way they're doing the story, like when you create your own character, but now it's like, hey, you gotta go through the option where you could just go through the developmental status, like make yourself known and all that. So I actually like that new way.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, what's he said to Yobi goes, dude, he's making the Hardy. Oh, he's gonna make the Hardy compound match, that Marty M. Buried Alive matches. Yeah. Dude's going heavy. He is, bro. He is. I even got I downloaded last night the specific arena that he's made for the casket match, where he's got the casket on like this like podium looking thing and everything, and like he showed it off where he did a power bomb onto the car. I was like, holy crap! Oh, and he did that's the other one. He did the Arena Stampede from AEW. So he's got an arena where there's grass and the goalpost, the football goalpost and everything. Well, I was like, God damn, look at this guy. He's just going nuts with this. Yeah. And like his creations, you're not wrong. Like even his CAWs look so realistic. Like the CAWs this year are probably some of the most realistic ones. I remember when they first brought in Crowd Wrestler and they never... It didn't matter what you did, they never ever... You could tell the difference big time. Like between the actual, wrestlers in the game and your CAW. They just didn't look graphically on par. Now, though, with what you can do, with skin texture and everything like that, you can get your created guy, especially if you actually, you're not creating something wacky, you're actually just going in there and actually creating, I don't know, yourself, for example. You can get the creator wrestler looking as good as the actual wrestlers in the game. That's what's crazy, and that's how far they've come along with that. What else? They've still got create an entrance as well.
I go crazy with that one.
Oh yeah, bro! Like
I spent like 5 hours working on that one.
That's nuts, That's nuts. So yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah, Fire Pro World on the PS4 is so good, man. It's so good. Like if you want to be able to play as a lot of those Japanese wrestlers, you got a Carter and everybody else in there. But man, it's always been a fun time with wrestling games. As I said, apart from 2K20, every single one of them that I've picked up has always been fun. All the way back to the Super WrestleMania days, right through, and then you had like, I know it's not WWE, but it had offshoot with wrestling / boxing, I guess you could say, with like your games like Def Jam and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jeez, don't bring up Def Jam, man.
Man, I so want that to come back, man.
Def Jam fight for New York City.
Yeah.
What?
Talk about that, man. That's that Marty M's done. He's created a Def Jam Fight for New York arena that looks so similar to the ring and everything that was used in that game. I think he's even managed to get like the insignia and a couple of the graphics from. I don't know how he's managed to put it in there, but you know, it's got Def Jam New York on, and in the right style of writing, everything on the Titantron part. It's got some pictures that I remember from the game that he's managed to get in. I don't know how he's done it, but he's done it. That man, as I said, yeah, and Yobi's pointing out, he's something else with his creations. But they were fantastic. I mean, you even had like ECW had games as well. Oh, that was probably the only other bad game that I can remember off the top of my head. The TNA Impact game was...
I was thinking of that one, yeah I remember that one too.
I was so looking forward to that when they were coming in, because I was like, I can't wait to play Ultimate X, man. And I just didn't execute really well with it. Like, it's so janky, and it just wasn't enjoyable at all. Like, I was really disappointed with that. You know, it was more janky than what one of the original PC wrestling games, which was WWE Raw on the PC back in 2002. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a fun game, but it was very, very stiff. Like, you could feel the motion and the movements were so stiff. You know, that all I could say is you go back and look at something like that. You look at it now and just how far they've come. It's wow.
Incredible. Like, I think about it every time I look at like the old Madden games, and I look at the Madden and I'm like, jeez.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man. Like, just the I love watching those videos you can scour YouTube for, and you watch the progression over the years of, you know, like you said, like the Maddens and your wrestling game, where they started, especially graphically, and then where they're at now, and you're just like, whoa. Like, now you're just looking at them and you're like, am I playing a game or am I watching it on the TV? Like, that's how close they're getting graphically, even with the NBA games and stuff like that as well. But, you know, as I said, like, even with wrestling, like, it's not a heck of a lot really graphically. That's why they find other areas that they improve on, or they can add in that, because there's not a lot graphically they can keep pushing right now.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing them sweat, you're seeing them bleed, the hair's actually finally, oh my God, the hair took forever in wrestling games, didn't it? The hair.
Yeah. They got it right this past year, too.
Yeah.
2K, yeah. What is it, 2K22 we're on?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, 2K23, sorry, yeah. Hey, what's good?
2K23?
Yeah, bro, yeah. What's good, back? What's good, brother?
Oh, shit, it is 2K.
But I remember,
it was on 2K22.
No, yeah. 22 was Ray. On the cover, this one's got had Cena.
Okay. And 22. Then who was on 21? Oh, they didn't do 21.
No, they skipped it. Yeah.
That's why I thought. Okay,
yeah. That's why you got a bit lost. Yeah, which is understandable because they skipped that whole bloody year. Which they needed to do. They did.
Yeah, no, they had to get that. They had to get, and I'm glad for that they did skip it.
I remember when the hair used to be that stiff that, like, Triple H, for example, you'd run with him, and his hair.
The hair would just get in his face.
Well, yeah, and then, like, the back of his hair, if you were running, would just sort of, like, stand up, but, like, stiff as a board, as if he put hairspray, like, you know what I mean? And then other times it'd completely go through his shoulder.
Or just disappear in general.
Yeah. It took the longest for them to work on. I don't know why, but to get hair right, the way it would flow or the way it would just sit if the person had long hair, they just couldn't get it right for years and years and years. And now it actually does, you know, sit right on a person's. Like, I mean, you look at Roman's hair, sits right on his shoulders. When he's running, it bounces, it flows, like, it looks natural. But they had so many problems with that. And while they were making so many improvements everywhere else, they just didn't seem to be able to get the hair down pat. And I know it seems like the smallest thing, but because, you know, there's quite a few wrestlers, especially the females, they all have long hair, it would stand out like a sore thumb. That was the problem. And, it was... now you've actually got it looking really good. So that was great to see. One other thing I'd really like to see return to is where you could really have and choose anybody for your special referees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That
you
would
could
be cool.
you could choose any wrestler to be the special guest referee.
And then you could actually play as that referee, and so you could screw someone over if you wanted to.
I've done that. I have done that.
Yeah, and which hey, that adds to the realism because look how many wrestlers over the years have been special refs, and one of the other wrestlers that are actually wrestling hits them, so they decide to turn on them or hit them or whatever. I'm the ref, but or do a fast count and. That just adds to it. And that's all part of wrestling and always has been. So that would be good to see brought back as well. But, the evolution, man, has been phenomenal to see. But they've been one of the most popular wrestling games out there. I mean, a lot of people are wrestling fans. And so the wrestling games have always had a tendency to do quite well. I mean, even 2K20 did. People went out, a whole bunch bought it. A whole bunch were disappointed as well. So, but now they're doing the right thing and they've got everything going well. So it's good to see. It's good to see. But that's it, folks. That's all we've got time for this week. That's all we've got for you this week. We're gonna have a bit bigger show next week because we've got 3 pay-per-views we've got to put our predictions on and speculate. Yeah. It's gonna be a massive weekend next weekend. We can tell you. As I said, you've got NXT's pay-per-view. You've got WWE's Night of Champions, of course, and AEW's Double or Nothing. So
is Double or Nothing the 29th? I mean, not the 29th, the 28th or the 21st?
No, I think you might be right the first time. I think Double or Nothing. Hang on, let me just check here. I think it's the 29th. Hang on, Double or Nothing.
Because I remember quick.
No. It's the 28th. So it's
20. Okay, I remember because it was. I remember I got high that day last year. And quick sidebar, I took an edible for the first time, and I don't remember much of the pay-per-view. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so that's on the 28th, and the other two are on. So Night of Champions is the 27th, and Battleground. Oh, Battleground's on the same day as the Double or Nothing. So Double or Nothing and NXT's Battleground are the 28th. Night of Champions is the 27th. So there you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be a stacked wrestling month.
It's gonna be as stacked as the WrestleMania weekend, really.
That was crazy.
That was nuts with those 2 nights, and I think you also had Ring of Honor doing a pay-per-view on that weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Too.
Yeah, that was a Super Card of Honor.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be each pay-per-view's 3 hours long, so you got at least 9 hours of wrestling. 9 hours. Yeah, damn. So yeah, look forward to next Monday's show, because that's pretty much gonna be the topics for next week, because we've got to cover 3 different brand shows, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, until then, folks, Josh, did you want to let the fine folks know where they can find you, sir?
Hey, you can look me up on Twitter, Joshua Counts 1. Right there, man. Always DM me if you got anything you want me to check out, guys, in terms of wrestling. Or just DM me just to say what's up. I'm always open to having conversations. I'm a chill guy, so yeah, just hit me up.
There you go, folks. Too easy. All right, and I want to, of course, thank everybody who has either stopped by or stuck with us the whole show today, including my girl, Trinity. Always great to see you, love. And, of course, thank you for everything you do behind the scenes to get this up and running and help out. My brother from another, Yobi. Always good to see you, bro, especially talking wrestling. I mean, you go as far back as I do, man. Brother back, always great to see you, man. Last game you remember playing was WCW versus NWO on 60. Damn, there you go, going back N64. The Realist, always good to see you, bro. Victor Click, who probably was drinking tonight, hopefully drinking the good stuff. Always great to see you, brother. Resident Evil 2, of course, was in here earlier. So was Pharrell, young Pharrell. My brother as well, PK, who's also a big wrestling fan. was great to see him in here earlier. I know he's been busy lately with his study. Hope that's going well too for your brother if you're still here. Pyro, of course, was also up here early on.
Oh, quick shout out to Cerebral Paul. You know, he wasn't here, feeling under the weather, so we hope he's doing all right.
Shout out
so
to
we
our
definitely,
brother.
Definitely our brother right there. So definitely, hope, and probably listening. So hope you're feeling better, Paul. So hopefully you're there for next week too.
Yeah, hopefully you are back for next week, brother, because we got a big show there. We've got 3 pay-per-views we've got to cover, man.
We're gonna need all the help we could get on that one.
Oh yeah. But of course you can find me at SpookyTBG everywhere, on the Twitter, on Discord, on the Xbox, on PlayStation, on Steam, anywhere there. Same name everywhere. But until next week, we will see you then. But enjoy the rest of your day or the rest of your evening, where you may be in the world.
Man, it's 11 o'clock, bro.
All right, folks. You have a good evening. Of course, folks, as you can see on the screen, just before I do get on out of here, just got the GoFundMe up there. We've raised $440 so far, and you can see the goal as well. So if you could keep sharing it out or donate in any way, shape or form to help me and my kids out after everything I've been through, that'd be greatly appreciated, and I can't thank everybody enough. But until obviously next week, we will be back with the next podcast for this Pop-Up Powerbomb Wrestling. And otherwise, you will see me, Charlie Hustle, and Cerebral Paul on Wednesday evening. And oh boy, are we going to have some interesting things to talk about, especially the EU approving the Activision Microsoft deal. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day or evening. Peace.